Well, first off, I want to show off these earrings because Kim freaking made space bee earrings just for this board game. They are amazing. I am obsessed.
Thank you.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Board Game Buzz. My name is Carly and today we are actually joined by my dear friend Kim here, which I am so excited about. We had the opportunity to jump into this game together and I was like, I really would love to have you help chat about this game because, spoiler alert, you really liked it.
I did.
Yeah, spoiler, a little bit of a spoiler. But we are going to be sharing our thoughts today on the brand new title, Apiary from Stonemaier Games.
Bees have taken over the world. The human species is no longer, and bees are the new up-and-coming sentient species. And now they are out and they are exploring space, right?
Yep, we are dead. We are long gone. Long gone. So we are going to go ahead and jump into a really quick overview of how the game plays, and then we're going to be coming back and quickly sharing our thoughts on this game. All right, so this is the two-player game setup for Apiary. I will just kind of generally explain how to play this game, so please don't take this as any official how to play video. In Apiary, you're basically taking on a role as a certain particular type of bee, and you are going out into space trying to develop and grow your hive. To get set up, it's pretty simple. You hand each player their own personal spaceship. Comes with 5 of these throughout the game. They're all slightly different. You will also randomly hand out these little faction tiles. So these are certain types of bees, races of bees. They all have different abilities and different things you can do. You will also hand every player their own personal docking mat along with the matching bees and little cubes with their matching color. So this is the first player setup. They have the log as their spaceship, and then the type of bee they have is the Attel, I believe. And then right on the middle of that, the picture of the bee there, it does have a special ability that it has, and it also tells you what starting workers you start with. So for this particular player, you will start with a strength 2 bee and then 2 strength 1 bees. So turns in Apiary are relatively simple. When it is your turn, you basically have 2 choices. The first one you can do is placing a bee, or the second option that you can do is retrieving all of your bees that are currently placed out on the board. So this is a little bit of a closer look of the board. So let's quickly go through and talk about each of the locations that you can go to and what they mean. So the first place that I wanted to talk about is this explore action. When you are exploring, you are basically you'll take one of your workers and place it in that slot shown above. Based on the strength of that bee, you will then move this little queen ship here, those number of spaces orthogonally, so either up or down or left or right. So if I placed a strength 1 bee up at the top, then I would move this queen bee 1 space. If it is a new location that hasn't been discovered yet, then you will pass over one of these yellow tokens. You will take these and add them to your docking ship and gain whatever is shown. You will then reveal a new planet. So we'll come over here and reveal. So this is the planet that we got for this turn. Now on this little planet ship, there is kind of like an empty square. If you land on a planet or reveal a planet that has an empty square, you as the player get to decide what you want to pollinate or help produce on that planet. So I already kind of set aside this water here, but I'm going to choose to put a water on that location. So now whoever goes there in the future gets to gain both of the abilities that are shown. But that is how the explore action works. This is going to be your primary way of gaining resources throughout the game. So at this advanced section, you again go ahead and place a bee. So let's say I place a strength 2 bee here. I'll place it in this first open slot. And then I get to gain tiles based on where they are on this track. So if I have a strength 2 or more bee, I can gain from this column. 3 or more I can gain from the first 2 columns, and then 5 or more I can pick from all 3 columns. The price for purchasing these tiles are all listed on the bottom. Like for example, if I wanted this one, I would pay 2 wax. And when you purchase these tiles, you will then add them to your board, and these tiles are what are expanding your spaceship and also giving you more abilities. So these green farm ones are actually places that you're able to place on your spaceship that open up more areas for you to hold resources on. These blue recruit little hexagons give you special ongoing abilities that can trigger or happen throughout the game. And then these red lightning bolt hexagons here actually give you kind of like instant bonuses or instant one-time use abilities. The convert action is where you go to make conversions. This is primarily where you will go to produce honey and wax. Over here at the grow action, this is how you get more bees, but you also are able to expand your spaceship. If you have a strength 2 bee, you're actually able to exchange any 2 basic resources to gain a frame. Now these frames get added to your board, so let's kind of chat about how these frames work. What these frames do is they actually allow you to build out your spaceship. So you are able to kind of place these on your board basically however you want to, and what it does is it opens up new places for you to build. And for every frame that you fill, it is worth 8 points at the end of the game. And also if you fill your original spaceship, then you get 8 points as well. Another thing you can do is this research section. When you come here, you're able to draw the number of cards based on the strength of your bee, and then keep one and discard the rest. There's this hibernation area of the board, which we'll talk about in just a second. And my personal favorite section of the board is this middle zone, which is the carve section. Now you do have to be a strength 4 in order to go here, but when you do, you are able to gain these special golden tiles, which when you add to your board, they basically give you ways to score some really big end game points. Now you've probably already noticed this on the board, but on every single place except for this carve action, if you go there with a strength 4B, then something kind of special happens. So for example, in this advanced section, if you go there with a strength 4B, you actually get to gain 3 points. If you go to grow with a strength 4B, you actually get to upgrade your faction tile. So these faction tiles are double-sided, so you can upgrade it to its more powerful ability. When you convert, you get to teach a dance. So let's chat a little bit about what teaching a dance means. Teaching a dance is a way to create a new conversion using the available tokens that are right here. So if I went here with a strength 4 worker and I wanted to teach a dance, I would claim whatever one I wanted. So for example, I would claim this one, and I would look through these tokens and decide what I wanted to do. So for example, I will do this one. So now moving forward, whoever goes to this convert action can choose to use my dance, which for this one means that they would give up a point, but then they would gain a honey. And by doing so, I would gain a queen's favor, which is the track along the bottom. I'll be able to increase 1 along that track because they used my dance. So I told you that when it's your turn, there are 2 actions that you can do. So the first one that you can do is placing. In order to do that, you select one of your bees and then place them on any of the locations that I talked about. You then do what it says. Now it's player 2's turn, and he's going to take his strength 2 bee and place it right here on the convert action. Unlike most worker placement games, when somebody claims a territory, that territory is actually not blocked off from other players. What you do is, if you want to go here, for example, if player 1 wanted to do the convert action, what player 1 could do is they could take their bee, and what they do is they actually bump the other player's bee off of that spot. So when one of your bees gets bumped, a couple things happen, and it's all dependent upon the strength of the bee that was bumped. So for example, this is a strength 2 bee. So one of the things I could do is I could choose to age it. So when I aged it, I can turn it to a 3 and then place it back in my active pool, and I can use it again at a future turn. Another thing I could choose to do is, if you didn't want to age this bee, you could leave it at the age or at the strength that it's currently at and place it down here in your landing area. The last thing that happens though is if your bee that was bumped is a strength 4, it automatically goes into hibernation. What that means is you take one of your little cardboard like token bees and place it into any open chamber. By so doing, you inevitably cover something up. What that means is that you gain that. So in this example, you would gain 2 points by hibernating your bee in that section. At the end of the game, part of the points that you score up is actually majority. So if whoever holds the majority in this specific chamber right here would gain 7 points, second place would gain 2 points. If you got majority in this chamber, you would gain 3 points. And if you were in a 3-player game, then if you held majority on this whereas in this one you would gain 5 points. Once the hibernation comb is full or one player hibernates their 7th worker, each players then take one final turn and then they proceed to endgame scoring. And whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into all of the stuff that we liked about this game. So, Kim, I'm going to turn the time over to you.
The thing that I loved most about this game is that as soon as we had finished playing it, I wanted to play it again. And oftentimes when I learn how to play a game, like the first time you play it through, it's because you're like learning the rules and you're like not sure how it goes. And then you want to play it again because, okay, I understand the rules now, so now I need to play it again now that I actually know how to play. For this game, there was a little bit of that, but it was more so I wanted to play it again because I wanted to explore this game. I wanted to try different strategies. I wanted to figure out different combinations of how things worked. It wasn't like there was just one strategy that seemed to be the way to win. I am a competitive board game player. I like winning board games. I mean, who doesn't like winning? But the thing that to me says that like, wow, Kim, you must really like this game is because I am okay if I don't win this game. I would rather explore the game and explore different strategies to see like what if can this strategy work for me, and if it doesn't end up working out for me, like I feel okay about it because I had fun with the process of trying it.
The game comes with so many different tiles, and like I said, the amount of tiles that it comes with, along with the amount of different, factions that you could have, and the board, I had the same feeling as Kim. I agree with you. I didn't want to do it again because I was like, okay, I understand the game, let's play through it, and I understand it now. It was, I want to solve a different puzzle, and I want to figure out a better way that I can kind of build my engine in a sense. It's kind of a little bit of an engine builder. I want to figure out, ways to get different tiles that combo better with other tiles, which then combo with my certain faction. And so I immediately wanted to dive back into it the moment we stopped, because you kicked my butt the first time. She kicked my butt. And I was like, okay, we've got to do this again. And so, my driving force the moment we stopped was I want to dive back into this because I want to figure out this puzzle again. I want to try a different puzzle, try a different way to get the most points. And I feel like every time I finish this game, I look forward to the next play. So yes, I absolutely loved the amount of just the puzzle behind trying to combo all of your tiles together and trying to get those specific tiles that work really well with other tiles. It's a very satisfying puzzle for me. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is I loved the bumping mechanism in this game. Most worker placement games, when you claim a territory or claim a spot, it is off limits for other people. That is not how it is in this game, like I explained in the overview. Because of that bumping mechanism, no place on the board is necessarily off limits for you. You really can go anywhere. The puzzle behind it, though, is, yes, the spot might be open, but everything is really dependent upon the strength of your bees. So, for example, this carve, you have to be a 4 to go there. And so there were times where I was like, okay, I really want to grab that carving tile. So I'm going to go there, and I look down at my bees, and they're all like strength 1 or strength 2. And I'm like, freak! and so the puzzle of, okay, so now I can't get that. Now I have to figure out ways to quickly age my bees, or I have to age my bees as quickly as I can so I can grab that tile before somebody else can. I loved the bumping mechanism, and I loved how all of the spaces were open for everybody. The puzzle was the strength of the bees. The puzzle wasn't trying to work around other people. Right. Really, the puzzle was working around yourself. Yeah. Which I really liked. I really loved that.
Liked that this was a new kind of worker placement game that I've ever played before, and I've played lots of worker placement games. And this was not something I've seen in a game before. So I really liked the unique and bringing like a new kind of quality to worker placement games.
Another thing I really liked about this game is I felt like the insert was great. Everything had a spot. Everything fit really well back in the box.
Carly and I read the rules and learned this together, and I felt like the rule book was very easy to follow along and to read.
So it comes with just the general rulebook. It comes with a separate rulebook for the solo mode, an appendix, which helps explain like some of the terms and some of the tiles in the game. Actually, most of them. I think all of them are actually in here, which is awesome. But then it also comes with a separate teaching guide, which I love it when they do this. And they did it in Expeditions as well, because once you personally know the game, you're able just to take this teaching guide and I mean, this is what we taught our group, is I looked at this teaching guide and I was able to go in order and just very quickly explain the game, and we were able to get up and get moving. And
the components in this game overall, we really like. I especially like these bees. They're like, they look like they're going to be like heavy to me, at least. They're not. They're light, but they're really
firm. They're really strong, like... Yeah.
And they're fun. Like, you can tell it's a bee. It's not just, like, I had to ask Carly if they sent her, like, upgrades for this game. No, you will get these bees when you get this game.
And I'm also, like, obsessed with the artwork. I love the artwork, and I actually really love the artwork on the board as well.
The final thing that I really liked about this game, and that my husband especially liked about this game, is the theme. It's very thematic in terms of bees. I don't know if it needs to take place. The space theme doesn't necessarily come out really strong, besides in the artwork. Like we just talked about, the artwork is great. But you could easily, I think, take this idea of bees and taking over the world, and it could have stayed on Earth, or you could go and you could explore the ocean, or you could take it. I even mentioned you could have like medieval times, like take it and put it in the medieval times where the bees took over. I love medieval themed games.
Apiary medieval.
Yes. That to me would be amazing.
Bees figure out how to go back in space or back in time.
Yeah, and to conquer the world then. But the bee theme is so strong. My husband is a huge bee lover, and when he played this game, he was like, every action that you take as a bee in this game is like a real action that you transfers over to like bees in real life. And the words on the development tiles, specifically,
so many, yeah, the development tiles,
and I guess like the recruit ones as well, like it's like real bee vocabulary. That's
like they have like royal jelly and bee bread.
And so he and I like really have an appreciation for the bee theme in this game.
All right, so I did want to briefly kind of talk about player counts here. I've played primarily at 2. I played quite a few games at 2 and then at 5. You were able to play at...
I played it at 2, I played it at 4, and I played it at 5.
5, okay. So for me personally, I really liked it at 2 because it was just very quick, back and forth, boom, boom, boom. I think we knocked out a game in like 40 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, it was really quick.
Yeah.
Granted, we're kind of quick players, so we were just kind of playing. But it did go really well at quick. But also, having said that, I feel like 5, I actually liked it at 5 too. Like, yes. I don't think it was like... I don't feel like this is one of those games where it's like, I will only play this at 2 players, or I'm only going to play this at lower player counts. I felt a 5-player game of this was totally fine. Mm-hmm. But again, granted, we were playing with people who were pretty quick. They were all making turns pretty quick. It was really only like the last couple rounds that kind of slowed a little bit to me.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were trying to maximize our points to the to the most we possibly could. But yeah, I feel like it actually played really well at all player counts at least in my opinion. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so now we are going to kind of briefly talk about some of the stuff that we might not have liked as much, or stuff that we could potentially see others not liking. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that I personally wanted to talk about was, I know we just talked about how much we liked the player board, or so much about the components and everything was built very well. I do want to talk about these spaceship mats because they are very, very, very thin. And it won't take much. Like, literally all you would have to do is store these in the box incorrectly and they are going to come out warped. Like, they absolutely would. It actually happened one time. I stored it and I didn't realize that it was kind of bent. And the last time I went to pull it out the next time, and one of the corners of all the boards were kind of bent. So I had to like lay them out and put some books on them and kind of straighten them out again. So yeah, they're very thin. And throughout the game, like we talked about in the overview, you're going to be collecting cards throughout the game, which you have the opportunity to tuck. Because these boards, there's going to be lots on your spaceship as the game goes on. There's going to be, your tokens that are on the board and your mats and tiles. And so when you go to try to tuck a card, because it's so thin, it's really actually hard to tuck that card. And just the way you have to lift up the board a little bit to tuck it, it kind of can shift your entire board and everything slides around. And so I kind of found that really annoying.
I want it to be like the same sturdiness
Yes.
as the docking mat
Absolutely.
or the tiles. Or like I was comparing it to your player mat in Seven Wonders. Like that's the same kind of nice, like especially in Seven Wonders, if you're familiar with it, you tuck your cards under when you're building your wonders. Same kind of thing when you're planting seeds, you tuck it under. But it's just, it's kind of flimsy. It's kind of hard to do. Another component aspect that I liked but didn't like was this queen bee. Super cute and awesome, and we didn't address her when in talking about the components that we did like. But the stand, like, it's really flimsy. And when you're moving it around, you have to like pick it up from down here.
It's really awkward to grab.
Yes.
Because it doesn't actually connect to the bee in any sort of way. Your bee just kind of sits on it. And when you go, like your natural instinct to move this is just to do this, which then leaves the stand behind. So you can do a couple things. You can go like this, which feels awkward, or this, which feels even more awkward. I will probably glue this on or permanently attach it in some way. Because the first game we played, we actually didn't see this in the box. So the first game we were playing, we were just playing with the queen bee, and I kept getting so annoyed because she was so big and just kept blocking. So I am happy that it has this stand because it really does help. But yeah, you would, at least for me, like I would go in and I would like permanently alter this.
We talked about how we wished the resources were here on the bottom. And like the 4 power was up on top.
Just, it feels awkward to me. It's like an awkward placement because, I don't know, I feel like just the bottom is just where all of the innate abilities, every time you go there, every single planet has these abilities, right?
Yeah.
Only a handful have that strength 4.
Yeah.
So it does feel weird, especially because like, if you're at a 2-player game, we would both be sitting on the opposite side facing the board.
Yeah.
So it feels weird that the resources are at the top because you move there and inevitably they're harder to see. It's probably not as important with like higher player counts because you're kind of more around the table.
Yeah.
But it still just feels weird to me. Something kind of smaller-ish, I guess.
We're getting kind of nitpicky.
Yeah, getting nitpicky. But so this is the wax component and this is the honey component. I guarantee from where the camera is right now, you do not see the difference between these. And the reason why is because the color is so similar. I wish that they would have made like the honey like a true like bright golden or something. Because there's many times where like, okay, I collect a honey and I reach across the table and just kind of quickly grab it, look down and realize I'd grabbed wax instead.
The color on the board, I feel like, is different enough.
Yeah, it's the components.
The actual component. So if maybe they could have color matched it just a little bit to make it more easily distinguished. Because
the other colors are super like the green, blue, and then it's weird that those are so distinct. Yes. And then it goes to these two that are so similar. Another thing that kind of seemed a little bit weird to me, I think you too, was here at the convert area of the board, you're able to perform a dance or teach a dance. I think that's what the term is, teaching a dance.
Yes.
That was strange to me. And I understand, I totally get like the thematic side because that's what bees do. When they find a good patch of flowers or something, they come back and that's how they teach it to the other bees and teach them how to get there. So I get that. But I never, I played so many games of this where I never used that at all.
Yeah, I agree. My husband, like I said, he's a bee lover. So when he saw this, like the idea of like teaching a dance, he was very excited about like, oh yes, because that's so thematic. But when it actually came to playing and doing that, we did not see much of a point. I think if we're going to have this teach a dance action, these need to be like a lot more like worth it.
Worth it, yeah.
Like it needs to be a lot more of a better conversion.
I almost wish it would have just been like, okay, if you go there with a strength 4, then you can do these special abilities, or you can produce 2 of one. So instead of doing, 2 flowers in a water for 1 honey, you could do 2 flowers, 1 water for like 2 honeys.
Yeah.
Or something. Like, that for me would feel more beneficial.
One of my final things that I feel kind of meh about in terms of the game is the landing area. In several of the games that I played, I did try to see if there was any kind of like benefit to using the landing area. Because like I said, one of the things I love about this game is there's so many different options and strategies I want to explore. And so I was like, I'm going to see if there is any kind of benefit to holding off on strengthening my bees and whatnot. And I found that every game that I did use the landing area, it actually put me at a big disadvantage. One game I played where I actually didn't even get to hibernate any of my bees. I don't know.
Did you really not?
Yeah, I did not hibernate any of my bees.
Was that the game that we played?
It was the game that we all played together, yes.
I remember that now, yeah.
We played it at 5-player.
And you had no bees in the hibernation.
I was about to finally hibernate. Three of my bees were finally at 4, and I was finally about to like be able to like recall them and hibernate them.
And the game
but
ended.
The game ended. The player before me, he put his not his last,
3 out,
but he had a lot out there, and he won the game. So to me, there's definitely like it seemed like there's an advantage to actually strengthening your bees more quickly.
All right, so we are going to be jumping into our final thoughts and ratings here. So Kim, you're the guest. I'll let you take it away. Final thoughts and ratings.
All right, my final thoughts are that I did love this game, and I definitely want to play it again. And I actually told Carly I'm actually going to buy my own copy, even though I'm with her and we play games like together a lot. Like I'm like excited for when it comes out because I want to buy it. You want me to give the number?
Yeah. So
okay.
What do you rate it on a scale from 1 to 10? What would you rate?
I give it a 9. Like it's not quite a 10 for me. For me, a 10 is Race for the Galaxy and Power Grid. I have absolutely no complaints about those games. Like, there's nothing I feel like I can even nitpick on with those games, besides maybe Race for the Galaxy is hard to teach. But I love that game, so we'll let that slide. For this game, I was able to find a few things here and there that I was like I said, I'm meh about. But overall, it's definitely a 9. I want to add it to my own collection. It makes me happy playing it, and I'm all about happy. So it's definitely 9 out of 10 for me.
So for me personally, I really, really loved Apiary. For me, what draws me back in every single time is the puzzle. I mean, I guess you could argue that with every single board game. Every board game's a puzzle. But I just loved trying to find all those different combinations. That's what kept me wanting to come back is, okay, what if I tried this faction with this space board with, I could try to get this carving or this, like, I don't know, because at the end of every game, I just wanted to start a new game because I wanted to try a new puzzle and I wanted to try to figure out ways to get points better or try to get points quicker. So for me, I'm coming in with an 8.5. I really, really enjoyed this game. Like I said, it's one that is constantly drawing me back. One that I feel like I'm always ready to play. Like if you're like, hey, let's play this after this video, I'd be like, sure, let's do it. Let's play it. All right, so those were our thoughts on the new game Apiary from Stonemaier Games. Huge shout out to Stonemaier Games for sending us this copy to review.
I want to say a huge shout out to the designer of the game, and I'm so sorry if I butcher your name, Connie Vogelman, and the art by Quanchi Moria.
It was great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Fantastic job. Yes. If you are personally excited about trying out this game, please tell me why in all the comments below.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video today, it means so much for us and helps kind of support everything that we're doing on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
And I should have said and. And I just want to thank Carly so much for having me here today to review this game with her.
We're definitely going to be having you more on the channel, Kim. So come over whenever you want to and help review games for us. So.
Will do. Waving.
Perfect. So top 3 space movies. What are yours? Let's start with number 3. What is your third favorite space movie?
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Rogue One
is great.
My favorite Star Wars film that I've seen.
My third favorite space movie is Alien. I love Alien. Alien is good. Like, it is so scary.
Going along with Alien, my number 2 is Prometheus.
Okay, I almost picked Prometheus, actually.
so
Prometheus
good.
is so good. My number 2 is The Martian.
Oh, yes.
All right, and then your number 1.
My number 1, this was hard for me to pick, but ultimately I decided based off of one that just like has lasted, and that is Contact. One scene at the very end, maybe I shouldn't say in case you've never seen it, but
It's an older movie. If you haven't seen it yet by now, then
too bad. Too bad. Where like Jodie, I don't know her character in the name, but it's Jodie Foster. She just talks about how her experience in space, and she can't deny it, and like she had this experience that was just so profound for her, and she doesn't care if anyone doesn't believe her. Like I'm getting chills like now thinking about it. But like that, we watched this class in one of my college classes, or we watched this movie in one of my college classes, and I had never seen the movie before then. But that when she said that, I was just like, yeah, like I just felt like that was true for like my own life with different experiences, especially in terms of my like spiritual beliefs. That just really resonated with me and just has stuck with me ever since then.
my number 1 is Interstellar.
Yeah,
I love
was thinking about
Interstellar. The music and the storyline, and it always like kills me. Again, we're gonna be like spoiling everything.
Yeah.
But like where he's like trying to communicate with his daughter, and he's like, "Don't go." Is that what he says? He's like trying to punch out. He's like trying to like tell her.
Yeah.
To tell his past self not to go.
Yeah.
And he's like punching out. Oh, it's like, oh my goodness, it's so good. It's so good. I love Interstellar.